Hansi Flick's side is in preseason form still, but they put the goals past FC Seoul as the plot is thickening on a number of important things for the regular season. Welcome to episode 706 of the Barcelona podcast, brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I'm Van Hilton, and for the listeners, I do really appreciate you. For the patrons, I really appreciate you. But all the attention today is on the YouTube channel subscribers because I somehow woke up and found myself over 30,000, a number that I never thought was possible when I started this show 6 years ago. And when Frances and I, in just audio form, started the Barcelona podcast back in 2017. Boy, it feels like a long time now, but 30,000 subscribers on YouTube, that is huge. So thank you so much for that. And also thank you to those who've been joining me for these preseason watch-alongs on Big Up. It is fun to have those questions and give me those things to ruminate and talk about, including what inspired some of these 5 headlines today. And please make it 3 in a row for big streams for me with the final Asian Tour match Monday at 7 a.m. East Coast time versus Daegu FC. They're struggling in the K-League, so I'm thinking we're going to get to see a lot of young players and a lot of goals, 2 things that I really enjoy talking about, so you can join me for that. But for now, it's time for the 5 headlines for Barcelona's 7-3 win over FC Seoul. Headline 1 is Gala 11, and I kind of asked that as a question, but we kind of know this is the Gala 11 for Hansi Flick. Maybe plus Araujo, maybe not. Inigo Martinez did not feature in this game. He was warming up, but not fully fit. And then Eric Garcia had also picked up that knock. They said that he'd move past it, but also not fully fit. So in no way do you rush either of those players back. You let them go at it, which meant that if Christensen wasn't going to start, that meant it was going to be Kubarsi and Araujo next to each other, with the other rest of that 9 not being any players I really need to even mention here because we know that they're the Gala 11. FC Seoul, they are 3rd in the K-League in South Korea, but they didn't really start this match with much pressure. It felt like a huge step down from Vissel Kobe, and I had some people in the watch-along telling me that the South Korean league, yes, there are some talented players, and maybe the best of their talent is better than the Japanese first division, but the depth of the teams in the Japanese division is a lot greater than the ones in South Korea. And you kind of did feel that, where, yeah, there was little moments of brilliance here from FC Seoul, but in totality, the physicality, the pressure on the ball, it just wasn't there for the Korean side. 3 minutes in, the first shot of the game comes from Pedri. By that time, Barcelona had already bypassed the FC Seoul midfield with 1 pass on 3 different occasions, twice from Koundé and once from Araujo. And all of that pressure for Barcelona leads to the early goal in the 8th minute in transition. FC Seoul midfield lose the ball, as they were doing in the first half of the game. Olmo off to the races, running a 4v3 with his forward line. He waits to release Lamine Yamal. This is picture-perfect transition from Barcelona. Lamine Yamal hits the post and is followed by Lewandowski. Lewandowski had the goal on the back of the Saudi Arabia rumors, which I don't know where those are coming from or who those are coming from, because he already has his contract pretty much already decided, unless it's that his team wants that next year to be completely guaranteed by the club. I think it's a team option, and I guess they want them to change to a player option, but why would they go back to the negotiating table unless his number is going to go up, which at his age, it's not going to go up. So I'm not really sure that's coming from his group. And then for Barcelona, I wouldn't see why they'd be pushing out their starting number 9. Obviously, Hansi Flick is like, yeah, I'm keeping Lewandowski this year. Let's worry about the number 9 thing next year. And I also had a conversation in the chat today about that number 9 position. And looking around, there is no player that's ready and affordable. And Lewandowski, looking at the other number 9s, of even what he gave last season production and what he'll be expected to give this season, he's still the best option that FC Barcelona has at the moment. Let's worry about the future number 9 next season. Right now, it is Lewandowski with Ferran Torres, and we're seeing how much Marcus Rashford can give you from that left wing, and maybe as a backup in the middle if necessary. That is what that striker position is going to look like this season, and I, and hopefully you, should be completely fine with that, even if there are times when we're going to criticize Ferran Torres and Lewandowski and Rashford. Over a long season, criticism will come, but for Lewandowski, I still think when the dust settles, he will have scored enough goals to win Barcelona some trophies again this season. 13th minute, body language was poor from De Jong and Lewandowski because Araujo missed a ball over the top that he probably should have played to De Jong. And yeah, that's not a big thing. That's not some big indictment of Araujo just yet, but do put a pin in that moment because I had those in my notes before I talked more about Araujo. Putting that negativity aside for a moment, the 2-0 comes from Lamine Yamal, keeps his possession after a failed back heel, and the ball falls very fortuitously into his path. You make your own luck, as I say, and Lamine Yamal knows how to do that. He has the time and space also to take a shot, so not a lot of credit here to FC Seoul. aiming for the bottom corner, and that's what he picks out. Lamine Yamal with the 18 goals last season. Well, if he's going to push that up towards 20, I think 20 and 20 is very possible for Lamine Yamal. That is messy video game numbers, but Lamine Yamal has been that good, that refined already. And with a brace in this one, maybe he's got those scoring boots just a bit tighter this season. Headline 2 is Araujo Scapegoat. In the 17th minute, Balde and Olmo. Now, I think Olmo had a mixed bag of a day. I was actually pretty happy with him, but yet I look on social media, even in the chat, there were some mistakes. His final ball wasn't the best. His first touch wasn't the best. So, yes, Olmo, I think, had a little bit of a mixed bag of a day. Balde, by and large, just had a pretty good day. He had one final ball that didn't get off, but he had that one marauding run that we know he likes to do. And I thought Balde defensively today also just not much happening for FC Seoul on his side, even though most of their attacks were coming down his side of the field. And on the topic of that South Korean offense, the 2-1 comes because Lamine Yamal has the ball taken off him. I praise Lamine Yamal. He deserves a lot of credit. He's a all-time world player. One of the things I compliment him on last season, and I really love about him since the time he was 14, 15 years old, is he doesn't give the ball away in bad positions. And I think that would be, in 2 preseason matches, my one worry about him. And my worry about him that is extended over from the last about month of last season. Once the Liga was kind of wrapped up in those final few weeks, as well as on the other end of that spectrum, when I felt like Lamine Yamal was pushing at times in the Champions League knockouts against Inter, Lamine Yamal cannot get sloppy. He has to continue to make good choices. And by that, I mean, go for it. Take on players, of course, like lose the ball. That's fine. It's Lamine Yamal. Because the reward of Lamine Yamal over the course of 90 minutes, taking guys on, is always, always, always worth whatever goes wrong with him giving the ball away. Unless that ball is given away in your own half or even third of the field. This goal is largely on Lamine Yamal. He gives the ball away in a dangerous spot as he's looking to dribble near his own box. The ball is passed into the number 9, gets goal side of Araujo. The immediate reaction on social media, and I think the thing that's going to stand out, is that Araujo once again let a player get goal side him. The issues here is, as I mentioned, Lamine Yamal, for starters, you cannot lose the ball in that kind of spot. He had a few against Vissel Kobe, and they continued on. I hope he cleans that up. And on second look of the goal, Cho Young-wook was probably offside too. So I don't know how much Araujo is truly to blame here. Yes, he allowed the player to get goal side, but he wanted to tackle him from behind. He was also getting goal side from an offside position. So again, I don't know what we're doing with Araujo. The discourse is that, does he fit Hansi Flick's system? No, not entirely. But he was also injured for the preseason last year, as well as the first half of the season. So he's had a half of a season under Hansi Flick, and Inigo Martinez was the consummate starter there. So is Araujo going to get the opportunity to have the starting position and to lose that starting position? I'm willing, more than willing, to give Ronaldo Araujo that opportunity. Because if he is the answer, if it is Cubarsí and Araujo, and that is the pairing that you go forward with, that saves Barcelona a lot of money and also puts out a lot of problems for you in terms of defending 1v1, especially in transition. We know that he can do that, but can he get to that level under Hansi Flick? The ball playing, I'm not too worried about either because of how good that Barcelona's midfield is and how good Cubarsí is with the ball at his feet. It's very much like Juan Garcia. When the opposition is going to press him and put him under pressure, I still think he could survive in that instance. I don't think he's so bad on the ball at this point in his career that he's going to put you in danger. Let me finish this headline with a bit of a compliment sandwich here. I'm going to start with a negative in that I thought the pressure from De Jong and Pedri in the midfield, at times it looked like preseason. They were allowing too many passes for FC Seoul through the middle. That felt really preseason-y for me. I thought De Jong actually had an all-around just a good day, and Pedri didn't have to do anything, which is what you'd like to see. You score 7 goals, and you felt like Pedri didn't have to push. But yeah, I thought they could have had a bit more pressure in the midfield. It's preseason. Again, I don't care that much. I know how good those guys are. And then Rafinha, part of this compliment sandwich, putting in a shift, especially defensively, but also offensively. He had so many good balls to teammates, continuing their runs up the wings, and he continued his own runs as well. He found Olmo late in the first half, but Olmo, big chance missed here. And that's not the fault of Rafinha. I know Rafinha didn't get any stats that jump off the page for you, but this is the difference between appreciating Rafinha because of what our eyes tell us and then just looking at stats at the end of a season. Rafinha is going to be just as important this season. There's no reason why he should have a drop-off. Yes, the goal contribution total number is going to be situational. So Rashford might have a few more. Lamine Yamal is going to have a few more goals. So maybe that number dips for Rafinha a little bit, but the effort will not. This dude deserves to be a captain. That is what I was saying last season, and that is what we know to be very true this season as well. That dude deserves a captain's armband many times this season, not just when Araujo is injured. So Araujo, if he winds up being the first captain, we'll have to see. He was wearing it for the first half in this game. But yeah, I think that actually should be Rafinha's when the team does vote. I think, the week before the Liga gets started. Finishing the compliment sandwich with another negative here, the 2-2 coming right before halftime. Well, I guess right before halftime because there's another goal right before halftime. Anderson is surrounded in the midfield, but there's no Barca player coming to get the ball off him. He had De Jong and Pedri around, but he winds up keeping possession. And then the center back, Al Arab, had come forward, got goal side of Koundé, and Araujo and Kubarsi are playing him onside. Araujo couldn't get to him in time, so more people were picking up the fact that Araujo, yeah, this is your fault. But no, that wasn't the issue. I think if anything, it's the timing and the chemistry. That is what is off with the Uruguayan, and those are things you could work on and drill and figure out in training. So I understand that on the 2 goals that were scored in the first half, he winds up being the fall guy and the scapegoat, but I'll tell you when it's his fault. I've done it before in the past. I'm not afraid again to say, hey, that player deserves some of the blame here. I'll tell you when it's Araujo's fault, but today I felt like he was just a scapegoat. Headline 3 is Lamine Yamal incoming, because to juxtapose the criticism I had for Lamine Yamal, who remember already has a goal in this game for us, Lamine Yamal is just too gosh darn good, and he wins matches for Barcelona. Lamine Yamal, of all he gives you offensively, is never going to be blamed for losing a match for Barcelona. This dude wins matches for Barca, and this dude is just flat out good. There's a lot of space for him, though, so my counter argument is that I don't know if he scores either of these goals against a low block in the Liga or against a better pressing side at higher levels or in the Champions League. He holds his run onside, almost threads the needle for him. And Yamal probably gets away also with a push on Kim, the left back, putting on those extra pounds in the gym, putting on those muscles, but it's not called, and he scores by getting to the middle, putting on his goal-scoring boots for the brace. As I said earlier in this review, 20-20 is in no way an absurd possibility for him this season, or 20-25. This guy is going to put up numbers if he stays healthy, because you could throw 2-3 at him, and I think the added substitution of Rashford late in games, and again, how Rafinha deserves a little bit of attention with his runs, and Lewandowski keeps scoring those goals. There's just too many other weapons, and teams are going to have to deal with him in 1v1 situations sometimes this season, and if you got him in a 1v1, good luck. He's going to dribble that box. He's going to get to a good spot with his left foot. He'll wait for the shooting angle to open up, and I think he's going to score 20-plus goals this season. That is a pretty reasonable, not even a hot take. That is a warm to medium take for Lamine Yamal. Headline 4 is depth impressed, moving to the second half now. An all-new 11 you got to see on that stream that Barcelona has, fortunately, I think for most people, made free on the YouTube channel for these remaining preseason games. But for that second half, Torres leading the line between Rashford and Rooney, Fermin, Casado, Gavi as the midfield, and then the back line of Joffre Torrens, Gerard Martin at center back. So do make a note of that. Christensen and Fort, and then Tech in net. Inigo Martinez and Eric Garcia, we know, are not 100%, so they don't feature. 52nd minute, jumping ahead here. This is really good interplay by Barca. This is a 11 that, even though they've got the new faces in there with Joffre Torrens, Gerard Martin playing a new position, as well as Rashford and Rooney up top, yet it still felt like there was chemistry and they knew how to find each other and work together to good effect. Good interplay from Barca in the 52nd. Rashford's long shot forces a keeper save. I was also liking the Rooney and Fort partnership on that right side. Yes, Rooney did give the ball away in a terrifying moment there in the 63rd, almost passing it to FC Seoul for what would have been an easy almost tap-in there. And then Fort also being dispossessed because he got a bit too far forward, thought he got hit in the face, which he did, but he was also giving the ball away. I thought he was taking chances where he shouldn't have. And yet, I guess a team like FC Seoul, who weren't completely changing their lineup because, again, they're midway through their season, I thought that Barcelona had the legs and the intuition. Again, if you're going to lose the ball up in their third of the field, because that's the attacking wonder that a young player can give you, that's fine with me. Just make sure you're tracking back and you're getting the positions you need to. 55th minute, it looked like Barcelona put that game away with the 4-2. No one from FC Seoul, once again, stepping to a Barcelona player, moving towards their box. This time is Christensen. He is given time to pick out the bottom corner. Low and hard to beat the keeper across the face of his goal. It's a really hard shot to stop. Again, that is not on the keeper. That is on the Seoul midfield, who is not pressuring Christensen. Almost another good moment a few minutes later in the 60th minute. It's Fermin on a set piece, which I love. Right now, we are seeing so far this preseason that Lamine Yamal hasn't been delivering the set pieces just yet. It's been Rafinha or Fermin, and Fermin delivers a good set piece. Again, put a note in that is something that Hansi Flick is watching in training and saying that is something, that is a skill that player, more than the others on the field, can help us with. So Fermin Lopez, underrated at delivering those set piece balls. And the headline 5 is El Tiburon Dos. 2 goals for Ferran Torres. The first one comes on the 5-2, gets in on the action, leaves El Arab in the dust on the cutback with the finish. FC Seoul losing their legs some there in that second half, but there's also a tidy assist on the played ball from Joffre Torrens. That's really my one question for you. With Gerard Martin playing at left center back and not entirely looking comfortable, which is not surprising here, just looked a little awkward at times in transition defending on the high line. But Joffre Torrens, yeah, he had good moments. I thought there were also some weaker moments from him too in his second half, but it does look like Joffre Torrens is being given the full tryout period. He's now played at the left back spot in both of the preseason games. So I wouldn't be that surprised, as I've been saying it for a while, if Joffre Torrens, who has as high a potential as a left back in the academy as anybody we've seen over the last 10 years. So Joffre Torrens will last since Balde. So can he be the backup to Balde? Or is it still Gerard Martin's spot to lose? And if that's the case, and Gerard Martin loses out on that spot, is that going to mean that Gerard Martin is going to shop himself? Because right now we haven't seen anything like that at all. Shortly thereafter, the 6-2. Now it's Gavi's turn. Tiki-taka to credit on this goal. Ball bouncing around in the middle at the top of FC Seoul's 18, which that seems to be the spot where they struggled, which is the one spot you don't want to struggle. Gerard Martin delivers the final cut of the blow with an easy one into Gavi, who has time to turn and shoot. Just too much time to turn and shoot. Too much quality in Gavi's boots, who is still pushing. I have no idea. Having now watched 180 minutes of preseason, Pedri, yes, he's the starter, but between De Jong, Castro, and Gavi, there are good things I have to say about all three of them, so I have no idea. I think we will see rotation between the four of them to start until Bernal is ready in a few weeks, and then I think the five of them are going to be rotated. I am not worried about the minutes and playing time. Yeah, they're all going to believe they need to start, but there are enough matches to go around for Barcelona this season, especially in the Champions League, in the league phase with that, having that extra, 2 games or 4, whatever it is, in the league phase. Barcelona is going to be just fine in terms of rotating that midfield, and that's if everybody stays healthy, which hopefully they do. After the 6th goal, Tony Fernandez and Guy Fernandez, the two cousins, coming in together, which is really cool. Imagine coming into a game, your first team debut for FC Barcelona in the case of Guy Fernandez. Getting your cousin to come in with you is awesome, and we get to see a cousin-to-cousin connection on a cutback from Guy Fernandez to Tony that does get saved. For Guy Fernandez, looks like he is playing the 8 here, and what that means for him, I'm not sure. I think that means that Barcelona see him there in the future. I think that's where he sees himself in the future, and I think that's where he's going to be the best as a professional. But at the 8 for Guy Fernandez, that means that you're likely this season not pushing in to the first team. I just mentioned the midfield to the point where are there going to be enough minutes even for those guys? So Guy Fernandez, I don't see how he's going to fit in the midfield unless there's multiple injuries this season, and the 4th division is probably not a good barometer of how good he can be. If I'm Guy Fernandez, I'm likely looking long and hard at that Andorra option for a loan that it sounds like Gerard Piqué has given both Fernandez cousins. And I'm even Tony Fernandez. I'm also with how good Rooney Barshi has been to start the preseason. I'm also looking long and hard at that loan to Andorra in the 2nd division as well. These two kids are good. I think they're good enough to be in the first team. And I think that it's a problem for the manager to have too many good first team players to fit in together. That's a problem for him and not a problem for the players. So be good enough, as I think the cousins are, go out on loan and then come back and prove it. Because again, Lewandowski isn't going to be around forever. I know it's different positions, but who knows where Rafinha is going to wind up? Who knows where Marcus Rashford is going to be up? Earn those minutes and make sure that you're good enough to be on the field and make the manager figure out where the rest of the puzzle pieces fit together. 86th minute, the 6-3 for FC Seoul. Barcelona just getting caught in transition. Maybe they had turned their brains off by that point, getting caught upfield. Christensen went to press, and that left Joffre and Castro to try to defend the transition. Couldn't find Gerard Martin on the replay either. He was looking to get back in the middle of the field, but that's a problem with Gerard Martin at center back. He does not have that speed to make up that ground in a way that Balde, in a way that Araujo, I even think Kubarsi might have a half a step on him as well. And I would not say that Kubarsi is in any way a speed merchant. The 7-3, though, let's end this on a positive note. Barcelona woke back up with pressure and a push after allowing that third goal. Torres with the brace and Casado given too much time on the ball, which was basically the main theme here for FC Seoul if you haven't caught on yet. Rashford in a tight spot finds Torres, and again, it's too easy for El Tiburon. He's always going to score that brace. How many goals will El Tiburon have this season? My guess is somewhere between 12 and 15, and that will certainly help Barcelona. I say the same thing for Rashford. If Rashford can give you like 14 and 8, we're counting total goals here. Lamine Yamal also expected to put up his goal increase. Now, I think all the attention is on stopping those goals. Something I would expect that Barcelona and Hansi Flick would like to do on Monday against Gala FC at 7 a.m. East Coast time. Please join me for that watch long where, again, hot takes, that's where the preseason is for. I'm going to have a lot of preseason content coming up in the near future, but I would assume that Hansi Flick is going to test his players to potentially get a clean sheet in that one. Again, I thank everybody who subscribed to the YouTube channel. We just powered like a runaway locomotive, like Lamine Yamal in transition to 30,000 subscribers. I appreciate so much all the people that have been following me on this journey, whether you're following just this week and became a subscriber, or you've been following me for 6 years, 8 years on the podcast, and 10 years in writing for BarcaBlog.com and writing about this team. It's been quite a journey, and I do appreciate every milestone and all of you as we hit those milestones along the way. So until the next watch along, I will see you not only on Monday morning, but I'll likely see you before that. And until then, Forza Barca.